We'll see this magnificent start. Juan Manuel Fangio will be dropping the Australian flag to start the anniversary Grand Prix.
30 seconds to go.
Right, the Rothmans Golden Anniversary Grand Prix. Watch for the tremendous clouds of smoke that'll come off these big slick tyres as each car puts something like 500 horsepower down onto the track. Pole position, John McCormack, Graham McRae alongside him in the black McRae GM2. And there's the flag, flagged off by 5-time world champion, and look at that as the cars snake away from the grid. And it's McRae who grabs the lead, and coming up quickly on the inside there was John Davison, who slotted himself up into third spot behind McCormack. Somebody else diving in hard there on the inside was Schuppan, trying to make his way through, and coming up very tight there was Terry Hook, who locked a brake as they went through Holden Corner, sorting themselves out a little bit now. It's McRae, the leader, from the Leyland powered car of John McCormack in second spot. But it's McRae, the New Zealander, scooting away from the rest of the field at something like 170 miles an hour as they fly up over the top at Rothmans and down through the S's.
John Davison.
John Davison.
Going very, very hard, making every poster winner there.
And then Bartlett coming through in the little Brabham, the very low profile car as they sweep through. That's Davison in the bright yellow car, number 24. He's in third position. In fourth position is Schuppan in the Elfin. Following him then was Kevin Bartlett as they scream away. One lap of their 49-lap race gone in this Rothmans Golden Anniversary Grand Prix. McRae already well in the lead at Ripco Corner. He comes out onto the straight now, followed by the white car of McCormack. Then the bright yellow car is Davison.
But Jas Talbot left the track there out of Shell Corner. Very lucky not to have come to grief against the Armco. Must have had a big long sideways slide and enabled him to wash off the speed before he hit the grass.
Great battle going on there between Davison in the bright yellow car number 24, and right behind him the Elfin driven by Vern Schuppan, who of course is doing so well overseas in America at the moment.
Costanzo entering the pits. That's bad luck for Alfie Costanzo in Kevin Bartlett's second car, the Lola. Bartlett again didn't quite manage to get in the slipstream far enough on Schuppan's Elfin. If he can get into it and halfway up the straight pull out, he gets a big fire out of that slipstream, which generally will enable him to pass. Very twitchy, as Adrian pointed out, the handling of the Brabham, but by the same token, it is a very controllable car. He knows exactly what it's doing at all times. The narrow track of the Brabham makes it a little bit more twitchy, but by the same token enables it to go so much faster around the corners.
Great shot there from Ripco Corner, showing the size of those big, wide steamroller tyres that they're using on these Formula 5000 cars. Kevin Bartlett in the Brabham, car number 3, followed by 19, Alan Hamilton in the Lola, a car just completely rebuilt in Alan Hamilton's workshops only during last week. There's the yellow car of McCormack coming up to lap one of our tail enders. Peter Edwards, I think it was, as they came through. Car number 4 there is Gary Dumbrell. Down through the S's, and behind him, and McCormack is in the pits. McCormack is in the pits. Kerry Luckins is down there. We hope that Kerry will be able to bring us some information on exactly what is happening at the moment.
Still the battle goes on between Hamilton and Bartlett. Bartlett driving like fury in probably a slightly lesser powered car than Hamilton has. He's got to rely on the lighter weight of the car, the late braking as he employed there, and tossing it around as only Bartlett knows how. Rushes down into Holden Corner. Hamilton slides under another car. Just can't quite see it. Look at that smoke out of Bartlett's car, though. It doesn't look terribly healthy. I think it's probably all over for the former twice Australian champion.
Graham McRae, certainly on his winning way at the moment, sweeps down towards the Dunlop Bridge section of the circuit and out onto the main straight once more. Accelerating away past the grandstand on the left-hand side of your screen, and then braking hard for the left-hand corner at Repco, down past the pits, and as Paul Harrington indicated, he's slowed down now to 1 minute 3.4 seconds from a fastest time of 1 minute 1.7. And Paul Harrington may be able to fill us in on just exactly how many laps have been completed at the moment.
Well, this stage, Adrian, we're just on our 13th lap, and the leader's margin is up to 15.4 seconds. He's pulling away very easily, lapping in 62.2 seconds.
And there's car number 40, Chas Talbot, coming slowly into the pits. So it looks as though he's run into some problems, and Terry Hook's car is also in the pits. I was wondering where Terry was, because he was fairly consistent in practice, and early in the piece looked as though he may have been up fairly close to the leaders. But a very ominous portent for Chas Talbot. Once a driver gets out of the car during a race of this length, even though it's a 49-lap race, once you're out, that's pretty well it, because even losing a lap or two is just too much. Kevin Bartlett, we understand, is in the pits, as Graham McRae goes on his winning way, and we welcome to our commentary point Bob Morrow.
Well, there he is, doing it beautifully well. There's car number 3 that's in the pit, Kevin Bartlett, who we saw charging along there, trying to catch and pass Hamilton. And there's the mechanics working feverishly on the engine. And there's Gary Dumbrell off the circuit, off at Repco by the look of it, and onto the grass. Has lost it there at Repco and come to a stop. And there's Hamilton, a little twitchy there as he slides it through the S's and lost contact with Schuppan.
Fair while since Alan Hamilton's been behind the wheel of his Lola Formula 5000, and it hasn't taken him very long at all to regain the old form. He's put in a lot of good performances in the Lola, but sometime, as I said, since we've seen him out there, and there he is reproducing all of the old form that won him the Australian Sports Car Championship and kept him up in major placings in 5000 racing. He'll be right in the slipstream of Vern Schuppan's Elfin very, very shortly. Whip around Holden corner, close in on the tail of the Elfin, and then pull the same slipstream trick that got him past Kevin Bartlett earlier.
And there they go up the back, screwing these motors up to 7.5, perhaps 8,000 revs as they push it right up the back straight. Very bumpy there. And there's McRae off by the look of it. McRae off the track. Right down at Dandenong Road by the look of it. Yes, right down the Dandenong Road S's. Off the track under the causeway there. Be interesting to see just how much time he lost there.
Wouldn't have been a great deal of time, I think, because he wasn't so far off that he was jammed anywhere. But the interesting thing will be as to whether he's got any damage to the car.
And we have Davison at the length of the straight. So Davison's got McRae back in his sights now. And if there's one man that would love to win this Australian Grand Prix, it's John Davison. Not only does he get $3,000 for winning it, but he gets the Lex Davison Trophy. His father, of course, winning the Australian Grand Prix 3 times. And John Davison, talking to him before in the pits, said he believed it was a very tough race, had no problems at all during practice. 3 practice times, he did identical times, 1 minute 2.3 seconds, and was really looking forward to it. And there he is, sitting in second position as he throws the Lola up over Rossman's Rise and down into the Dandenong Road corners. There's Hook back out of the pits. Well out of contention for the race, would have been in the pits for 5 or 6 minutes, so he's just getting out for to be part of the race as the two flying, the Elfin and the Lola go flying up the back straight, and there's Davison pulling out the passing car number 33, which is John Briggs and his Manage. Bartlett now out of the pits, obviously cured that oil leak. I thought for a moment it was there, but that was tyre spin. That was tyre smoke as he whacked it in gear and really gave it a boot to get back into this race.
Gary Cooper in car number 12, the designer builder of the Elfins. Not going quite as well as he usually does. I think he's had some very good second and third placings here in the last 12 months and a couple of other 5,000 races, but not quite with the pace this time. I think he might have been putting all of his efforts into making sure that car number 11 for Vern Schuppan was in top condition.
There's, we see a slower car holding them up a second, and Hamilton's able to make a lot out of that and close right up on Schuppan, and Briggs pulling right over the inside of the track, but upsets Hamilton quite a lot through that corner, and Hamilton nearly put it into the dam there. A That's what we were talking about before. When they come up behind these slower cars, funny things can happen. One there, Schuppan was balked and Hamilton got up behind him, but then Hamilton got balked again and is still trying to get past Briggs.
We saw Briggs waving the other cars through, but unfortunately didn't slow down nearly enough to give Hamilton all the room that he needed to make a proper line around Holden Corner. And now Alan Hamilton's got to start all over again and get back onto the tail of Schuppan's Alpha.
Another car there that they're coming up to lap is Barry Singleton, and here's Schuppan, the ex-Holland car. The Englishman who brought the car over for the Tasman Series last year, or the Rothman Series, and Singleton's taken it over. There's Schuppan, a good lead now on Hamilton. Hamilton would have his... Oh, and there's a very bad accident there.
Gary Cooper. All the marshals will be running over to rescue Gary. He looks as though he's okay, pulling off the helmet. That's a nasty spot to go there. Looks like the Rothmans Rise area. On my left here, I have Bill Tuckey, who's joined us in the commentary box. Where do you think that is? Do you agree with me, up in the Rothmans area?
I think it's a horrifying collision. I think it's up in the Rothmans area. That seems to be
where Johnny Walker went off.
Almost the same spot.
Yes, it's over the rise and coming down into the braking area. You can see the braking marker there in the top left-hand corner.
That was a bad one. I'd say a very, very lucky boy is Gary Cooper. That'll be the worst prank that he's had in his very, very long career. Fire marshals there to quell any danger of flame while the rescuers work to extricate Gary from the seat. I'd say he's okay. He was moving around okay, taking his helmet off. I think his legs are going to be pretty sore though.
Well, there's a shot we see of McRae going through Repco and Davison not in sight. We did have, when McRae had that excursion, that as he went into Repco, we could see Davison down the main straight. He's cleared out again, obviously. He's got the thing well in control. Car sounding good. No problems at all to him at this stage. But he'd have his fingers crossed because the race is still half to go. He's still got to get through a lot of traffic. Got a good lead on Davison, but another about 23 laps to go. And he failed with 2 laps to go in the first round.
We'll take another check on the rescue operation on Gary Cooper in that quite horrifying crash. I can imagine just how it looked to the spectators up there on Rothman's Curve. Look at that car, absolutely smashed to pieces. And the ambulance men and expert rescuers with engineering training have cut away the car from around Gary Cooper. There they are lifting the driver out of the car, but he's conscious. As you can see, he's holding onto the shoulders of his rescuers.
Well, we've just heard that Graham McRae has got the unsportsmanship flag.
Oh, no, there's another one. No, Davison and Schuppan have come together. Davison's car was able to be driven away. Schuppan's car is half a right off there. Collision in Repco corner. Bad luck we missed that one, but you can see the result of it. There goes Davison on his way again. Looks as though there's a bit of a tangle there. Probably, I'd tip that Schuppan probably tried a passing move on Davison in Repco. Probably climbed a wheel, which put himself into the fence. Didn't do Davison any harm, except to spin him. But Vern Schuppan, unfortunately, out of the race, and there's 2 Ansett Elfin cars. One totally destroyed, another one severely damaged in the space of just a few laps. So now it is Graham McRae, as we just heard a little while ago, having received the bad sportsmanship flag, apparently because he's not slowing down quite as much in the officials' opinion, in that yellow flag area up in the Gary Cooper crash area. And that's why, of course, the gap between McRae and Davison opened so markedly. One moment there was only a half the length of the straight between the 2 cars. Then we saw McRae come out of Repco corner and Davison was nowhere in sight.
Yes, the bad sportsmanship flag is really a misnomer.
Davison's off.
Oh dear,
Davison's off. He's had a lose out of Holden corner. Now that obviously, he stopped, yes, but that's obviously as a result of that touch. I'd say he's probably broken the drive shaft. He's got a few opinions as to what's happened and explaining just what has happened. And I'd say that the touch with Schuppan's car has probably broken a drive shaft or part of the rear suspension, and the car is no longer drivable. So from the way the car is parked, coming out of Holden Corner there, I'd say he's lost the car. Something has broken and he's lost it, rather than finding that he's got no drive and having volunteered to stop.
There's the long, sad walk back to the pits for the man who had hoped, as Bob Morrow said earlier, to win the Australian Grand Prix that his father, the late Lex Davidson, in fact was killed on Sandown here. The Grand Prix that his father won 4 times, and for the only one to win the Grand Prix 4 times, and that's why the trophy for the Australian Grand Prix carries his name.
Right, there's the leader, Graham McRae. Shortly we'll get back over to Paul Harrington to give us a rundown on the positions. Over to Paul Harrington.
.32 laps completed, and Graham McRae is leading by 14.2 seconds from Alan Hamilton. They're the only 2 cars on the same lap.
McRae stopping.
In place we have Briggs, Peter Edwards, Barry Singleton and Peter Middleton in that order.
There's some confusion here now. Bob Morrow, what do you think's going on here with Graham McRae? He had his arm up as he went past the start-finish line.
It seems as if he is acknowledging the bad sportsmanship flag, Max.
Yes, I think that he stopped there. He mistook it, possibly. See, the bad sportsmanship flag is unique to Australia. And he saw the flag, thought it may have been a black flag, which of course means that you must stop straight away. Graham McRae pushing it along there up the main back straight to Rothman's Rise, down through the Estes into Goodyear Corner. Further back, Kevin Bartlett being pressured along by Alan Hamilton, seeking to get past and get a crack at the leader.
Graham sits a lot more upright in that car than the current crop of Formula cars. They adopt a far more reclining position, but he's designed that so that he sits high over the wheel and with almost a straight back. It's most unusual, Max, isn't it?
Well, he's a big fellow too.
He can also, sorry Max,
he's built a car with a shorter wheelbase.
Yes, and he's got that little lip on the top of the windscreen, you can see. Obviously he was worried at some stage about air bashing his head around or buffeting it around. He's just got that little lip to deflect the oncoming air over his helmet. Because as you say, Bill, he does sit up very high compared to the other cars.
Must have been a very confusing time for Graham there earlier in the race when he received that bad sportsmanship flag. Different drivers have different views of how fast they should travel in yellow flag areas. And with the international experience that Graham McRae has had, I'm sure that much higher speeds are normally followed over there. So he probably thought he was doing the right thing. He could have maintained control of his car at any particular point. Could have stopped it or done anything that was required of him. But in the opinion of the officials, apparently it wasn't quite slow enough. 5 to go for Graham McRae. Still that 10-second gap between him and the second-place man, Alan Hamilton. Behind them, John Briggs, Peter Edwards and Barry Singleton. Kevin Bartlett there going past the clerk of the course car. Clerk of the course obviously going up to investigate the aftermath of the Gary Cooper crash. Good news that Gary Cooper has only suffered a broken leg. Those of you who may have just tuned in, big crash, major crash on Rothman's Rise, destroyed the answered elephant of Gary Cooper. Gary, quite conscious all the time, suffered a broken leg and has been taken off to hospital.
And shortly afterwards, of course, the second answered Team Elephant had a coming together at Repco Corner with John Davison, which ended up in both cars retiring. Davison's car up 1 or 2 laps more. Schuppan's car with the front written off, retiring immediately.
Go for Graham McRae, and there's another one off. That looks like Bartlett's car. Maybe wrong. Let's clear
series of accidents.
I hope it's not Hamilton's.
It's under Dunlop Bridge. It's a very, very fast corner.
That car is absolutely destroyed. Now let's see. Is it Hamilton? Got the BP on the side, which tends to make me think it's Hamilton more than Bartlett. Bartlett's a shell man. Hamilton's with BP under the Dunlop Bridge, and that's a bad spot to go. That car in very bad shape.
The double yellow flags, of course, Max, are there to warn people that the track is almost blocked, and that they must proceed with extreme caution and be prepared to stop at any time. The rescue teams here at Sandown are very well equipped with all kinds of systems to help drivers in situations like this.
Right, that's the oxygen.
The track has been quite slippery all weekend. It was slippery in practice yesterday. Meanwhile, it's back to race leader Graham McRae.
Race is almost over, a lap or two to go. And the flying New Zealander Graham McRae has it. Second place now with the retirement there of Alan Hamilton. You're going to John Briggs, Peter Edwards in third, and Barry Singleton fourth.
Well, I'm sure Barry Singleton wouldn't like to get fourth under these circumstances. His first time in open wheelers, he's a driver of a McLaren sports car. Looks as if he'll come fourth in the Rothmans Australian Grand Prix. I'm sure he'd like to do it in far better circumstances than this.
Right, the last lap signal board being displayed there to the leader, Graham McRae. One more circuit of this 2-mile Sandown circuit to cover. And the Australian Grand Prix of 1978, the Golden Anniversary Grand Prix, is Graham McRae's. Makes it his third. Quite a disastrous race with Gary Cooper going out in a disastrous crash. Alan Hamilton there a few minutes ago. Vern Schuppan involved in an incident. Not good at all.
But to the victor belong the spoils, and we're only now perhaps 2 kilometres away from seeing Graham McRae get the checkered flag for his third Australian Grand Prix, the Grand Prix that was started 49 laps ago by the maestro Juan Manuel Fangio, whom we'll see appearing in the next event here on this historic and memorable Sandown meeting, memorable for many things, but also for the crashes that have occurred in this Australian Grand Prix.
There he goes, Graham McRae, the New Zealander, in his own designed and built car, the GM3, takes the checkered flag for the 1978 Golden Anniversary Australian Grand Prix. In second place will be John Briggs. In the Maddich, Peter Edwards in third place, and in fourth, Barry Singleton. Just before the finish, Barry Singleton retired from the race, handing over fourth place to Peter Middleton. And a tremendous round of applause from this packed grandstand here at Sandown, Australia's premier road circuit. Congratulations being offered there by John Davison, who was unfortunate in having to retire, following a coming together there at Repco Corner about halfway through the race.
We are most honoured here today at Sandown to have with us the 5 times winner of the World Drivers' Championship, Juan Manuel Fangio. And I'm now going to call on him to present the Lex Davison Trophy to the winner, Graham McRae from New Zealand. Ladies and gentlemen, Juan Manuel Fangio.
Thank you. Tengo el honor
I have the pleasure
de entregar el trofeo al excelente ganador de esta carrera.
to congratulate the good winner of this race.
De esta carrera.
Well, I would just first like to say that I never thought I'd ever meet Mr. Fangio, and I can say that I think it's more of an honor to be here to meet him than to have won the race.
The latest report on the condition of Alan Hamilton is that he does have head injuries. He has 2 doctors and he's being transported to hospital now by ambulance. The ambulance here at the Sandown circuit come very well equipped with all kinds of life support systems. That, of course, is what is left of Alan Hamilton's car, which hit the Dunlop Bridge coming out off the causeway only a few laps from the end of the Australian Grand Prix, and he was helped by marshals who were on the scene very quickly and by the medical unit, the mobile medical unit here at Sandown, which got to him very quickly. He was given oxygen and, as we say, is now on his way to hospital with head injuries. And that's Gary Cooper's Elfin, the designer builder of that car, who went off in a very nasty place in the circuit, totally destroyed the car, has been taken from the wreckage with a broken leg, but is otherwise quite okay, and it's two horrifying accidents.